Novi Public Library Board of Trustees regular meeting. Today is Thursday, February 25th. Let's start out with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, and then Secretary Tori, could you do roll call, please?
Absolutely, and just as a reminder, just when I'm saying, calling your name, to also say the cities, county, and state that you are located in. Trustee Augusta.
Present, Novi, Michigan, Oakland County.
Trustee Dooley.
Present, Novi, Michigan, Oakland County.
Trustee Lawler.
Here, Novi, Michigan, Oakland County.
Trustee Messernet.
Here, Novi, Michigan, Oakland County, Michigan.
Trustee Mishner.
Present, thank you. Here, Oakland County, Novi, Michigan. I might have said that backwards.
Trustee Wood.
Here, Oakland County, Novi, Michigan.
Trustee Yu, present, Oakland County, Novi, Michigan. Student Representative Chang.
Present, Novi, Michigan, Oakland County.
And Student Representative Tangarella is absent, excused.
Thank you. That is very challenging, isn't it? And I would also like to welcome Ann Siernick. Did I pronounce that correctly?
It's Siernick, but I take anything.
All right. Well,
I answer anything. It's a complicated last name. But
thank you. And she is the attorney for the library, and I thank you for attending this evening. Yeah. Before we begin, I would just kindly request that everybody please stay on mute until you raise your hand and I'll address. And that if you do need to be recognized, just please raise your hand. And if I miss you, please let me know. And then during voting, please raise your hand and say aye or yes. And if you could just leave your hand up for an extra second, just so we can make sure that we have a clear tally of the votes. Sometimes it goes so fast, I'm afraid I miss it, and I don't want to be wrong in that. Okay, the next item is the approval of agenda. And first we're going to do things just a little bit differently because I've kind of been doing some Robert rules and looking at the things. So what we're supposed to be doing is request a motion to approve. Then we get a second, and then we have discussion about it. So, and then we do a vote. Trustee Mishner?
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to actually make a motion. I move that the following be added to the agenda under matters for library board action. The approval to amend the document Library Closings 2021 on page 91 to show the Juneteenth holiday as a paid holiday, just like July 4th, Independence Day, and every other holiday that the library calendar has.
Okay, so you would like that added to the agenda under matters for board action?
Thank you.
Okay, Trustee Wood?
I just want to point out one thing when you're talking about Robert's rules, just one thing to add there. After the second, the first person that is allowed to speak is the person that made the motion.
Yes,
sir. So I wanted to add that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay. So the first thing I will say, clarify if I'm doing this correctly or not, please, Anne. So do I do the motion to approve the agenda with the added matters for board action, or do I do approve the motion for the agenda as listed? What is the proper way?
What I would do was, Trustee Mishner made a motion to add the library closings to the agenda. Was there a second?
No.
So yet. What we would do is vote on that motion.
Okay.
And then and then we approve the agenda as presented or as amended. Unless somebody, that's
okay. So Trustee Mishner made a motion to add that or to approve it.
she made my understanding was the motion was to add the library closing as a action item.
Yeah, I can read the motion again. It's very specific. Thank you so much. If you don't mind, if that's okay.
Yes, please do. So we'll have
Thank
clarity.
you so much. I appreciate it. So what I asked was, I move that the following be added to the agenda under matters for library board action. Approval to amend the document Library Closings 2021, which can be found on page 91, to show the Juneteenth holiday as a paid holiday, just like July 4th, Independence Day, and every other holiday on the library calendar.
And now I ask for a second.
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 Okay.
What?
No, I'm asking you, Anne.
Okay, I just want to be clear, because right now, the library closings is under supplemental information. I read that as that it's just information to the board that there was no action on it.
No, are you asking me?
Yeah,
I guess I'm asking whoever put the agenda together.
It's just informational at the back of the packet. It's always in the packet for the board and for staff to know that there are the library closings that were approved back on 6/2020.
Sorry.
It's page 91. And this was brought to the board back in June of 2020.
It's already been approved?
Yeah, it's already approved. That's just informational.
It's been approved as a closure. But I think Trustee Mitchner is asking for something new.
So I'll repeat my motion just to make sure that we're clear. I just want to make sure everything's really clear for the public and also for everyone here. I don't want to cause any misunderstandings. So that's not my intention. So I'll read it again. I do want to note that there was 2 people that actually seconded it, though. Also, I think that's important to note.
I didn't ask for a second, so I think there was a misunderstanding there. I didn't ask for a second. I asked Anne, now do I second it? So that's where I was trying to get clarity. So this is just a little new for us. So yeah.
Okay, can you read the motion again? I want to clarify one thing. If you could read your motion again. I didn't write it down, so it'd be helpful if you read it again verbatim, and then I could make my point if there is one after that.
Sure. So what I was asking was, I move that the following be added to the agenda under matters for library board action. Approval to amend the document Library Closings 2021 on page 91 to show the Juneteenth holiday as a paid holiday, just like July 4th, Independence Day, and every other holiday on the library calendar. I'm asking for that to be put under library matters for board action, which would be number 2. There's already one item there. I've asked for that to be number 2. That's what I'm asking to be added to the agenda. I hope that's clear.
That actually clarifies it. What I think I was confused about, and I just want to clarify, is that you're just adding it. You're just adding or asking for that item to be taken off the supplemental information and added to a board action. Because it's a 2-step process, because we have to add it to the board action. And then the board, when it comes to that agenda, will address the specific substantive issues.
Sure. I'm not. So maybe I can restate what you said and actually clarify what I mean and make sure everybody gets it. And it sounds like 2 people did already. So what I'm asking is for matters for board action, which would be number 2, because we already have one item there already. So I'm going to read the motion again. I move that the following be added to the agenda under matters for library board action. Approval to amend the document Library Closings 2021 on page 91 to show the Juneteenth holiday as a paid holiday, just like July 4th, Independence Day, and every other holiday that's on the library calendar. Novi Public Library's calendar, all the holidays are paid except for this one. So I would like that to be met under matters for board action, which is number 2. That's what I'm asking for today.
But by seconding and approving this motion, the board's just putting it on the agenda, and then at that time you're going to decide whether substantively you want to make the change.
Right. Yeah, it's a matter for board action.
Okay.
Under number 2. So not the first one, but under number 2. That's what I'm asking for, Anne. Thank you.
So my recommendation, because the way you set up your agenda is that I think you just move you can accept the motion, second it, and then it puts it on the agenda at that time. And then when you come to the agenda, you would have to make by approving the motion right now, you're not approving the change. You're just putting it on at that point. I just want to make sure.
I'm asking for this to be put on the agenda for matters for board action under number 2. That's what I'm asking for. That's what I have been asking for. Please, thank you. That would be my approve. That would be, the question was for approval of the agenda, and I had an addition. So that would be my addition, which would be under matters for board action number 2. That's what I'm asking for, please.
Okay. So she made a motion to amend the agenda to add that, and then the appropriate thing would be to, if someone wants to second that motion, have a discussion and then vote, and then a vote on the agenda after that is a separate motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, that's what I was getting clarity about. Okay, perfect. So thank you for your patience, everyone. All right, and I did have a second for that to be added under, I added to the agenda from trustee Yu. So I will recognize that. So, and then now do we discuss that? So this is where I'm getting confused.
Yeah.
What do we discuss about it? So
discuss whether you want to add that to the agenda or not.
Okay. All right. Any discussion on that? And since trustee Mishner, you were the one who made the first motion, you get to be the first one to discuss.
Sure, I'd like to add it to matters for board action under number 2, and because I want to state this again, and I have done that a few times already. So I would like to make sure that we put that under matters for board action under number 2 to show that Juneteenth holiday is a paid holiday, just like July 4th, Independence Day, and every other holiday on the library calendar. That's what I'm asking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, so now we vote to adding June 10th to the calendar as a paid holiday, as trustee Mishner stated, correct?
As an agenda item.
As an agenda, I'm sorry, thank you. As an agenda item. All right, all in favor say aye.
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 All right, that is 3.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
A Zoom suggestion?
Yes, of course, please.
I think it's really difficult, and this might be a little bit more cumbersome. I think it's very difficult to tell who's voting yes. I think for motions while you're doing Zoom, the best thing to do would be to have either a roll call or make everybody say aye. The raising the hands, because I noticed on other meetings where people are voting no, they never actually voice that. So I think you should say all in favor, and then everybody, and then do a roll call vote, or roll call vote, on the motion, and people can say yes or no, and that way there's no confusion.
Okay. I know, trustee Mishner, you mentioned that a couple months ago, so I'm glad that came back up. Trustee Yu, are you comfortable with doing that?
Sure. Trustee Augusta. Oh, sorry. Trustee Augusta.
No.
Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Messernack.
No.
Trustee Mishner.
Yes.
Trustee Wood.
Apologize. Yes.
Trustee Yu, yes.
I did not get the count of that, so I apologize, trustee Yu. Sorry, Barbara Cook.
Five yes votes.
Thank you. Okay, so that was passing, so that it will be included on the agenda under matters for board action number 2. Excellent.
Wait.
Okay, what?
That's the amendment to the motion. When you guys approve the motion, that's when it will.
Oh, Okay, so now we go back to the approval.
Now we go back to, I know it's confusing, it's a lot of procedure, but now you go back and you have to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, and go back to any other discussions too in general, correct?
So you
Okay.
approve the agenda as amended, a second discussion,
Okay.
and then the vote, and then the agenda set.
Okay, perfect. All right, so do I have a motion to approve agenda as amended?
Madam President, I have one more thing.
Okay, do we do that now, or is that supposed to be done at discussion?
All right, well, Trustee Missioner, did you want to add something else to the agenda?
Yes, please.
Does that need to be done at discussion though? Because that's what I thought that's what I'm confused as to what.
Okay, so we've got an agenda, and the ultimate goal is to approve the agenda. Trustee motion, it's a tongue, to make an amendment to the agenda, which that amendment's been approved. It sounds like she wants to make an amendment to add an additional item to the agenda or to make a change. Is that, I don't want to speak for you. Is that what
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just have one other thing to add before approval, that's all. So I'm trying to follow the rules.
I know, but I misunderstood. I thought the rules are you get a first, a second discussion, and so that's why I'm just confused.
She wants to add she wants to add an additional item to the agenda. So item 1 she wanted to add was to move the closings, and I believe if she's likely going to make a motion to make an additional amendment to the agenda.
Okay, yeah, and I'm not against that. Please understand that's not what I'm trying to stop you from doing. I'm just trying to make sure I'm just really confused as to everything I've learned. So, okay, Trustee Missioner, yes, what else would you like to add?
Sure, and this one actually, thank you for allowing me the floor. I think this will help. I'm actually not, it's been said I want to add something here. I don't. I want clarification. The whole packet was changed. So before I approve, I'd like to understand a distinction that was shifted. I've been here for about 6 years and we've always done correspondence, and now it's change of communication. So what I wanted to ask for was the distinction between what communication is versus correspondence, and what does communication include? That was a question mark I had actually. So that's not a matter for board action or a motion or anything like that. I just want to understand for my own understanding of our new agenda to be able to approve it.
Julie Farkas, could you explain the verbiage changes for us, please?
So just in following better in suit with City Council, correspondence is the same as communications for them. So it's the same wording. It's how City Council uses it, which is why I made the change, just to be in sync with them.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So there's, just to make sure I understand, so there's no changes at all. It's just the word change. They're interchangeable.
Julie,
correct.
Is that correct?
You are correct.
Thanks. Okay. That's all I wanted. Thank you.
All right. All right. Before we go any further, I'm utterly confused because my understanding in reading with Robert's rules is that there's a motion and a second, and then there's discussions, and then if there's any changes, then there's an amended. So that's why I'm confused as how we're holding the meeting. So I feel like it's gotten much more complicated, and when we were trying to become, much more in line with what we're supposed to be doing. So I really need clarification here. Otherwise, I'm feeling like this meeting is going to have a lot of misunderstandings, which is not my intention. Anne, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I think it's just a little complicated. So Robert's rules, and correct me if I'm wrong, do your bylaws require you to follow Robert's rules?
Yes, our bylaws has Robert's rules, yes.
They're this thick. I mean, they're really complicated, and I think that, to the best that we can, we need to follow them. But typically for most library boards, there's a motion, a second, discussion, and then approval for most of the stuff that you're going on. I think the simplest way I thought to handle the agenda issue was if there's a motion to approve the agenda, we've got to figure out, if there's an amendment, I thought it would be appropriate to approve the amendment before you whether you want to add it before you approve the final agenda. So if that's causing confusion, I suspect the rest of the meeting's going to go a little bit smoother, because I think that was a little bit, that's probably the biggest roadblock here, was to try to figure that out. We can work after that to kind of get through the Roberts rules. But again, it's really, I mean, there's so many technicalities to that you really have to be a Roberts rules scholar to, and I've been practicing for 25 years and I'm not, you know, it's just one of those things that we're going to do the best that we can, and we can talk afterwards about, you know, improvements to that process.
Perfect. Okay, great. And I just ask for everyone's patience and grace if we make a mistake, for us to correct it. And if everyone could be on mute, that would be helpful also. Thank you. Okay. Did we approve the agenda yet? All right. I would like to request a motion to approve the amended agenda. Trustee Mishner, thank you.
You're
Do
welcome.
I have thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Trustee Mesternick.
Second.
Thank you. Trustee Yu, could you please do a roll call vote?
Yes. Trustee Augusta.
Yes.
Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Messernet.
Yes.
Trustee Mishner. Trustee Wood.
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Yu. Yes.
That passed 7-0. Yes. All right. We're getting it. Woo! Okay. Presentations. Julie, I will ask for you to assist with that, please.
Sure. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to introduce all of you to April Stevenson. She's our Information Services Department Head, and she's going to share some information about some new services and implementations at Novi Library. April, thank you for joining us.
Everyone, I'm going to share my screen if that's okay. Just give me the go ahead here. I just have a small presentation. Okay, minimize that and present. Okay, can everyone see the presentation screen? Hold on. Okay, just give me a thumbs up because I only see one. I only see Julie, so okay, great. Okay, so Culture City and Safe Space at NPL. So welcome to this. We're very excited to get this started. So what exactly is Culture City? So right now, 1 in 6 people have a sensory issue. As a public library, this is something we need to be aware of both internally and externally. To that extent, Culture City provides sensory training, of which all of our staff, I'm happy to say, have gone through the training as well as the testing. So they're trained, they're tested, and they are ready to go on it. They also provide yearly training. So this is something that our staff will go through once a year to learn all about any changes that have come about for this community. Culture City is also all about really being sensory inclusive. It not only helps people with sensory processing needs, but actively advocates for their success. They make sure that kids and adults feel included and can enjoy all aspects of life, including, best of all, visiting a library. So why would we offer Culture City and their sensory inclusive bags here at the Novi Public Library? Well, again, 1 in 6 individuals in the US has a sensory processing need, and this helps us understand and accept the growing community. It teaches us how these individuals view the world, and it promotes the freedom for everyone to be included in all activities everywhere. And I would draw your attention just to these 2 quotes here starting with the common sounds, lights, crowds, and even certain smells might not only be overwhelming to some people, but also physically painful. And because of this, these individuals withdraw from communities, not by choice, but by circumstance, as they worry about how the world will accept or include them. And again, I stress, as a public library, we want to make this building accessible and welcoming for everyone. So Culture City in our building, what does it mean to be a part of their organization? Well, first of all, it means recognition as a certified participating organization on their website. You will see from that map that those are just the areas in North America, actually just Canada and the US, that are certified locations. And we are one of those little red balloons there. We have, if you go to culturecity.org, we have our own social story there. What that does is when people are aware of Culture City, they can go to the website and they say, you know what, I'd like to go to the Novi Public Library. What does it look like? What is my child going to see as they walk through the doors, as they go into the building? Where can I expect to find those bags or the signage that I'm used to seeing? And that will walk them through it. One good thing that I do want to mention that we did a number of years ago was the Google 360, which has been on our website for quite a while now, which is another good way. And we also do point that on Culture City to let them know, hey, here's another way you can see what the entire building looks like. Preparing our young children to come to the building that have sensory needs is a huge, huge thing and great for them. And we're excited to offer that. Currently, there is recognition on our front door, but more importantly is signage. So signage that shows where they can find the sensory bags, where they're going to need to use the noise canceling headphones. We know that the lobby and the first floor are the talking floors, and that those could be areas, you know, we may have a large music program going on. And so it just lets them know that, you know what, now might be the time and the place to put on those headphones. It also makes them aware of where we have a quiet zone. And I will touch base on that one in just a second and show you some of that. So these are what those signage in the building currently looks like. It is in place. As you will see on the top part of the screen are the 3 headphone areas. So the one to your top left is going to be in the lobby. It's near the self-service hold shelf. The next one is letting them know as soon as they enter near the Friends Book Nook, next to the cross from the stairway, another area they may want to use those headphones. And then the third one is in the picture book area, right around the information desk. That's where, you know, it can get a little bit loud. Below that on the bottom, you will see sensory bags available here, which are at all of our main desks. So every desk has a minimum of 1, if not 2 bags. We have a total of 5 bags in the building that are ready and waiting to go. These bags are not just to be asked for by the guest. So if we hear something, if we notice something as a staff member, we have encouraged staff and taught them to take a bag and to quickly go and help the guest if they need it, and to let them know that we have those bags. Lastly, on your far right, you're going to see the quiet area signage. And so right now, it's not possible for us to have a dedicated room all the time. However, our story time room, when not in use for story times, can be the quiet area. It's an area where we can separately turn down the lights. We have added Culture City labeling to one of the cabinets. As we have our youth staff previously to Culture City had created many fidget items available we had ahead of Culture City. So those items are in there, as well as a couple of other things, which I will show you in just a second. So what is in the Culture City Sensory Inclusive bag? So this is fun. These bags are great. As you'll see on the left there, that's a little backpack that they can carry around and have with them. These are not, we don't bother with checkouts. The guest just uses a bag, We just say, hey, when you're done, could you just return it to one of the desks? It doesn't matter. That's the important thing, is that they're being helped by the bag. We're not going to waste our time with getting a library card and checking it out. It's about helping them as quickly as possible. So on your upper left, you're going to notice that there's a cute little KC VIP tag lanyard that they can wear. Next to that is something very helpful. So these are communication cards. On one of them, especially for our nonverbal children, or if they're just having the time and they need to calm down, this is something they can point to. They can point to how they're feeling, and they can point to some possible things that they may need. So that's another way to help them. There's the noise canceling headphones. To the right of that are some of the fidgets. You've got a marble fidget, a noodle fidget, and a tangle fidget. And then to the right of that is a weighted lap pad. And this one's kind of special because the kids can write on it. You can wash it right off, but they can sit there and they can doodle on it and draw on it, as well as having that weighted feel of the blanket on them. Like I said, in addition to these items that are in the bag, we have additional small little weighted hand lap pads with marbles in them. We have shakers, all kinds of different things, calming items and fidget items for our guests. One thing I do want to bring to your attention here is to big shout out to the city of Novi and thank them. I had gotten together with Jessica Miss Stack over at the city because they told us about Culture City and introduced it to us. So big thank you to them. They rolled out theirs in their building last year. So very proud to say that City of Novi is really on this and partnering with Culture City, making all of their buildings accessible. So another thing that we decided, as we normally do with the staff, is to take things one step further. And Charlie, who is our network specialist and does a lot of great work in the iCube as well as for our IT team, he came up with these iCube sensory creative kits. And so you'll see below there, these are for in-house use in the iCube. So, obviously they're for anyone, but any of our guests that, might want to actually put together their own sensory opportunity can do so. And it's a make and take. So they make it, they get to take it. Unlike the Culture City bag, this stuff they can actually take. And so you'll see there in the left, a stress ball, which I do have to say, I made one and I use it every day. It's great. Stress bag, and then the stress tube. So again, very happy that this is something that our young guests can take home with them. So the next thing that we worked on was the Safe Space for All. This was brought to our attention by our staff member, Sarah Vander. She partners to bring the Pride and Joy program to NPL. And let's talk about what is safe space. So you'll see on the right, this is a poster. This is in 2 spots right now. It is on the first floor near the information desk. And then it's also upstairs in our teen stop. And so what is, the question you're all, I'm sure, asking is, what is the definition of safe space? So according to the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network, this is an organization that works to end bullying, harassment, and discrimination against LGBTQ students in schools. A safe space is a supportive and affirming environment for lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, transgender, and queer students. While we can never ensure that any space is going to be safe and affirming 100% of the time, a safe space is a place, group, or community that is intentionally working to affirm LGBTQ people. So why display this poster? Again, displaying this poster is a way to show NPL's allyship to the LGBTQ community and to promote that visibility. The safe space posters are a visible symbol of NPL's motto of inform, inspire, and include. The designation of NPL as a safe space means, just as that quote says right below, that we are supportive supportive and affirming environment for the LGBTQ+ community. And we want you to know that you are included and welcome at our library. Last thing I would say there too is that we are currently working on a door decal for the front door for that as well. So one more thing that came out of the safe space. Sarah also, through some of her webinars, introduced us to gender pronouns as well as gender inclusive language. And what we did was we took that and we did an update through the customer service committee on our GREET tool. So as you will remember, our customer service motto is GUEST, and that is greet, understand, educate, satisfy, and thank. So we updated our GREET tool with a section to include gender inclusive language. Why should we shift to gender inclusive, otherwise known as gender neutral language? Shifting to gender neutral language respects and acknowledges the gender identities of all people and removes assumptions. When greeting our guests, instead of saying, as you'll see from that little business card there, instead of saying ladies, gentlemen, ma'am, sir, we are switching over to much more neutral. Good morning, folks. Thanks, friends. Hi, everyone, and other items like that. So all of this is to say is just another way that our NPL is following our motto of inform, inspire, and include. And I'm just proud to be a part of that. All of these business cards you see here, instead of saying ladies, are at every single service point to help us remember. And we're all getting it. So all of this information that I have just told you is available on our website, novilibrary.org, under About Us, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. It's all listed there. So again, I do want to thank the staff that brought most of this to our attention. Again, thank the city and thank all of you. I will stop share.
Thank you. Does anybody have any, hello? Does anybody have any feedback or comments on April's presentation? Well, on behalf of us, I hope you don't mind me speaking for everyone. Thank you. That was very amazing and impressive and heartfelt. Like, it was very wonderful. So I want to thank you very much for that, and everyone that was a part of it, and for all the extra work and everything. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Have an amazing evening, April. Okay, second presentation, Julie, I will hand this over to you for our wonderful Craig and Bill. And
sure. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So we are saying goodbye to two wonderful gentlemen who have been part of our library board. And I'll start with Craig Messerneck. Both Craig and Bill received certificates in their packets this week when Bill made deliveries of the board packet. So the first one is for Craig Messerneck, in grateful recognition of over 7 years, December 2013 to March 2021, of leadership and volunteer service to Novi Public Library, an avid reader and guest of the library. Over the years, he dedicated time to committees including finance, building and grounds, policy, and strategic planning, and served as president, vice president, and treasurer. Craig, thank you so much for your years of service. I have truly enjoyed working with you, and it's been quite an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you, Julie. I was honored when I was appointed by Mayor Gatt in City Council and then reappointed. I love the library. I think it's a wonderful part of the city of Novi. I'm glad to have played a small part in whatever we've done. You've done an amazing job as director, and we're lucky to have you as well as the library. So Thank you for all you taught me. I appreciate it.
I look forward to you stopping in to pick up your books because I know you, like I put in there, you are an avid reader and someone who does use our library often. And maybe we can grab a cup of coffee. So please keep in touch with us and thank you for your years of service. It's been really wonderful and a pleasure to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yay. All right, William Lawler, who actually goes by Bill. So Bill, also, I'm very pleased to have had the honor of working with you. And this certificate which you received is in grateful recognition of 6 years, February of 2015 to March 2021 of leadership and volunteer service to Novi Public Library, another avid reader. And I must say, he also attends a lot of our author events. Bill was always in the audience when it came to authors to check them out. So I appreciate that. And a regular guest at our library. Over the years, he dedicated time to committees including bylaws, building and grounds, finance, and served as secretary. Bill, thank you so much for being a part of our library community and the leadership of the library board. I truly have enjoyed working with you.
Julie, thank you. And thank you for the certificate. It's been a true pleasure to work with you for these 6 years and see your talents and your dedication and your problem solving ability. Overall, my experience on the board has been pleasurable. I think we did a very good job of protecting the community's interests. It's a pleasure supporting such a great institution. You know, I've had a few comments over the years by friends and neighbors, but 99% of them have just been how great the library is. And once in a great while, somebody will have a concern that, you know, we weren't open enough hours or, you know, a book had a page missing or whatever it is, but they're very, very minor. So it's been a joy to work with you. And believe me, you'll still see me around at many events.
And that's what I hoped. I'm hoping that when we get to our doors opening and programming coming back in person, I will see you in our audience again. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Anyone have any comments for Bill and Craig? Oh, Trustee Mischer.
Thanks. I just wanted to say it was great to work with both of you and congratulations on your next step.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Wood.
Yeah, I also want to echo that, Craig and Bill. It's been enjoyable being a fellow trustee on the board for the last many years. And definitely look forward to seeing you both throughout the community and hope to keep in touch with both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Trustee Yu.
Thank you. And I completely agree with Trustee Wood and Trustee Missioner. Congratulations and thank you for everything you've done. I've had a great time serving alongside with you guys and hope to see you around as well.
Thanks, Tori.
Thanks.
Trustee Dooley.
You know, obviously I'm going to echo what the fellow trustees said, but I really learned a lot from both of you, and it's been a pleasure in the short time that I've had to be a part of this board to work with you both. So thank you both so much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
I'm going to try to say it without crying. There's no crying on library boards. I've enjoyed working with both of you. You have taught me so much, and you've been an amazing example and great people. And I look forward to going out afterwards and having a celebratory either tea, coffee, or whatever you'd like. So I'm looking forward to seeing you after this. So thank you and best wishes.
That sounds great.
All right. Okay. Report, student representative report. Sarah, thank you.
Okay, so this is the January 2021 Library Board Student Representative Report by Terry and myself. So for the library programs, there was the Robo Rhinos Novi Middle School robotics team demo, which was held on January 6th. And the team basically demonstrated their current project and discussed their robot's design, how they built it, and how it was programmed to perform various functions. And this program allowed the team to showcase their projects prior to their competition, and 35 people attended. There was also the Between the Pages Tween Book Club Trivia, which was held on January 27th. Guests read Jayla Jumps In by Joy Jones and answered trivia questions relating to the book. Attendance was 9 people. For the Teen Space update, Teen Space is still closed due to the executive order. For a TAB update, there was the 5th TAB meeting of the 2020-2021 school year, which was held on January 15th via Zoom. The meeting started off with icebreakers where the members stated their name, school, and their favorite hobby and TV show. Then the teens discussed ways to get more people to participate in the virtual teen talent show. And finally, the meeting ended with the members dividing into their committees and continuing on from what they were talking about in their previous meetings. And the committees are teen programs, community service, and teen book lists. And attendance was 13 people. For the upcoming tween and teen programs, there is the Tween, Teen, and Adult Grab and Go Craft Kits, Mini Embroidery Hoop Pendants, which will be held on March 8th. There's also the Grab and Go DIY Water Bead Stress Ball Kit, which is going to be held on March 13th. The March TAB meeting will be held on March 19th, and the Between the Pages Tween Book Club Trivia will be held on March 24th, and people will be reading The Part of Your Nightmare by Vera Strange. And if you look on the bottom left, that is a picture of the January Teen Stop display, which features the best young adult fiction books of 2020. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Julie?
Not a question, just a comment to let all of you know that we're very proud of both Sarah and Tarun. They have been through council, they have been elected to stay on through June. And so they will continue over the next couple months to be with us as our student reps. So we're very happy to be keeping them on board.
Thank you. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. And I'm pretty sure Tarun is as well.
Thank you both.
We're thankful for you. Trustee you.
Thank you. I just had a question about the TAB meeting update. I know you guys did the icebreaker, and I was curious. So besides Novi High School, are there other students that attend the TAB meetings? Other high schools?
I'm pretty sure I due to schedule conflict, I personally haven't been able to attend the recent TAB meetings, but I'm pretty sure majority of the students are from Novi High School. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. All right. I was just curious if there were ever any others besides the Novi High School students. And then this question might be meant for Julie, but I'll throw it to anybody. I know a couple years ago, maybe we had the middle school or the tween advisory board. Is that still a thing?
Julie Farkas.
It's not. It actually did not get taken off like our high school one has.
Okay. Thank you.
We didn't get the participation when we put it out a couple times. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
All right. President's report. So we have the strategic planning goal, which is on page 5. And then we do not have goal updates this month, but it is time for election for officers. So we will begin the nomination process in March. The slate will be provided and election will be done at the April meeting. And the officer duties will go into effect in the May meeting. So if you could please let Secretary Yu know by March 31st if you would like to be on the slate for officer, and that way he'll have enough time to work with Julie and get that completed. Thank you. All right, treasurer's report, Trustee Wood.
All right. First off, we'll go through the approved budget for Fund 268 for fiscal year 2020 through 2021 with the total revenues of $3,124,300 against the total expenditures of $3,221,824, looking to take a total of $97,524 out of the fund balance. Excuse me. The approved budget for Fund 269 for fiscal year 2020 through 2021. We're looking at a total revenues of $46,500 with a total expenditures of $51,050. The net revenue and expenditures looks to take $4,550 out of the fund balance. Looking at the revenue and expenditure report for Fund 268 year to date, January 31st, 2021. We have a total revenue of $3,163,613 against expenditures of $1,622,378. The revenue and expenditure report for Fund 269 as of January 31st, 2021, with total revenues of $15,549 against expenditures of $5,616 with net positive of $9,933. The balance sheets as of the end of January for Fund 268, the fund balance stands at $3,803,528. And as of the end of the January, the fund balance for Fund 269 stands at $1,716,912. So overall, financially, we're looking very strong as we're about 2/3 through the year here. Any questions, comments? All right, thank you.
Do we want to look at the annual report that's on pages 18 and 19 also that was presented to City Council? Correct, Julie? Thank you. Okay. Director's report.
Okay. Starting on page 20, just want to recognize our staff anniversaries. These are years of service at MPL, and this is for March of 2021, the month that we're getting ready to go into. March 6th, we have Jean Aldrich. She is from our Support Services Department, and she'll be celebrating 4 years. On March 8th, we have Hillary Henshaw. She is our business librarian, and she'll be celebrating 4 years. On March 9th, we have Marianne Zermulin, and she is our Support Services Department head. She will be celebrating 10 years. And then on March 12th, Yolanta Boric, and she is from our Support Services Department. She's a supervisor, and she will be celebrating 14 years. And I wish them well. They get a personal congratulations from me as well. And I'm very excited to be celebrating with them in March. Moving on, you have your reports from our different departments of information services, facilities, IT, support services. The library statistics are also included. There is no report for the Friends of Novi Library. And then there is an agenda from the February meeting. I did not receive any minutes for the Historical Commission. And that is through pages 20 through 66.
Thank you, Julie. Does anybody have any questions in regarding the director's report? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda removal and approval. So this is a little bit different. So if you read the explanation, it's kind of done in different, we're going to do it as one vote instead of like we used to do it. So bear with me. All right. So I would like to request a motion to approve the consent agenda. There are 2 items as noted on page 3, and they are listed in your packet from page 76 to 89. So I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with 2 items noted on page 3. Thank you, Trustee Mesternick. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Dooley. Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor, oh, I'm sorry, apologize. Trustee Yu, could you please do a roll call vote?
Yes. Trustee Augusta,
Yes.
Trustee Dooley,
Yes.
Trustee Lawler,
Yes.
Trustee Mesternet,
Yes.
Trustee Mishner,
Yes.
Trustee Wood,
Yes.
and Trustee Yu, yes.
Thank you. Okay, that was approved 7-0. Okay, now we have matters for board action number 1, which is the approval for guest behavior. What I'll just ask is, Julie, if you could please update us on any changes from the last draft.
Thank you. Yes, so the draft was sent back to the committee, the staff committee. And then also I sat down with one of the staff members who offered more time in order to review, Hillary Henschel. So I want to point out to her a thank you. We did have over 30 different grammatical, punctuation and changes like that to the policy that we made, which I'm sure you will see. We cleaned it up more so that it is definitely ready for you in terms of approval. So we're good.
Perfect. Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the guest behavior policy? Trustee Mishner?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the guest behavior policy and the anti-hate speech clause.
Okay, well, the approval. That's not the motion I'm requesting. Let me rephrase it. I'm requesting a motion to approve the guest behavior policy as presented. So do I have a motion to approve the guest behavior policy as presented? Trustee Mesternick, first motion, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Yu, second. And then any discussion? Trustee Mesternick, do you have anything you'd like to add? You were the first one to make the motion.
I have nothing to add at this time.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? Trustee Mishner?
Thank you. I just wanted to point out the hate speech policy because I think that was of ultimate importance. So that's why I mentioned it. I just wanted to note that. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any other discussion? All right. Could we do a roll call vote, please? Trustee Yu?
Trustee Augusta,
Yes.
Trustee Dooley,
Yes.
Trustee Lawler,
Yes.
Trustee Mesternet,
Yes.
Trustee Mishner,
Yes.
Trustee Wood,
Yes.
Trustee Yu, yes.
Pass 7-0. Thank you. All right. And then the second agenda was and I do not have it written verbatim, so I do apologize, Trustee Mishner, I couldn't write that fast. So this is to add the Juneteenth as a paid holiday to the calendar. So bear with me just one moment so I could get clarification. Thank you, appreciate it. And is this where I ask for a motion to approve prior to doing discussion, correct?
Yeah, there has to be a motion on the floor and then it's seconded and then there's discussion and then vote on the motion. So yes, someone has to make a motion with respect to the item.
Perfect. I just want to make sure we're clarity. Okay, so I would like to request a motion to approve adding, Trustee Mishner?
Do I get to make the motion? I'm sorry, because
I'm requesting the motion. So would you like to make it and state it?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. That will be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Augusta, President Augusta. And the reason why I asked is because you mentioned that you didn't have it all down and written, and that's totally understandable. So I figured if I read it the way I wrote it, it would be right, if that makes sense. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. So
what I would like is approval to amend the document Library Changes 2021 on page 91 to show the Juneteenth holiday as a paid holiday, just like July 4th, Independence Day, and every other holiday on the library calendar. So that's what I would like the motion to be.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, trustee. Okay. For discussion, trustee Mishner, would you like to go first?
Yeah,
This is discussion time.
Sure. Absolutely. Do I have the floor?
You do. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we can keep Juneteenth as a holiday, as we stated in several other meetings. We did say that it would be treated just like July 4th. That's actually noted. It was discussed originally. Let's see here. I have notes. Maybe I should talk about it for reference for everyone. So we specifically talked about it on June 25th at our virtual meeting here on Zoom. And then we, it was asked for clarification, it was brought back, and then we discussed it again on August 27th. On June 25th, it was unanimous, and clarification was provided that it is a holiday specifically. I will share with you that in the board packets, and you can reference these, it was always put as a holiday up until December. It shifted and changed. He added, and it was no longer put in the same way as July 4th, but up until December, it was put in the same way that July 4th was. So I just want to make sure that every other holiday is included. Every other holiday that we say is a holiday, which Juneteenth is an example of one of those, is paid. So I'd like it to get the same consideration, because we did say that we wanted to try to provide discussion about being like MLK Day. It's not like MLK Day. It is Independence Day. So it would be, I think, an equity issue to make it lower.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Do I have any addition? Oh, Julie?
I do believe it was a typo. Trustee Mishner is correct. It is noted on other information that I have with me and in front of me that it is a holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any additional discussion? Trustee Wood?
If that's the case, is there a motion to be made then?
The motion is to have it as a paid holiday. So I guess we need.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so maybe I'll reference back to Julie. Is it a paid holiday, or is it just a holiday with time off?
I understood when it was being approved in the summer that it was a paid holiday.
So it's just a typo?
I think so.
Yes, Trustee Wood, thank you.
So back again, is there a motion? Is there something even to vote on at this moment in time?
There is not, except for we're asked Julie to make it a red H so that it is going to be noted as a paid holiday in our next packet. Trustee Wood?
How do we address a motion that's been made? This is an area where I'm a little confused. I mean, can we not vote on it, or?
Oh, wait.
Because we have a motion, it's been seconded, but it doesn't seem like the motion's necessary. So I'd like to ask Ann for her, how do we get out of this?
Well, you're asking me to dig deep into Robert's rules, which is asking a lot. So Robert's rules is really for when people have a disagreement, and then you turn to Robert's rules to resolve a disagreement. My thought would be, unless the president has Robert's rules and she's going to tell me something different, would be to have Trustee Mishner withdraw the motion as unnecessary.
That would be fine. The only thing I read was that we could vote to postpone indefinitely, but I would be very happy if Trustee Mishner wanted to withdraw the motion.
I'd like to get clarification if I can, Madam President.
Yes, please.
So I'm okay with withdrawing it as long as we're all clear that it's a paid holiday. That's my
Okay, thank you so much.
Julie has verified that it was a typo and that it will be listed as a paid holiday in the future.
I appreciate that. I just want a clarification to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So yes, if that's the case, then I withdraw the motion. It sounds like it's not needed. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. Okay. I like this. All right. Okay, public comment. In order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that the speakers respect the 3-minute time limit. This is not a question and answer session. It is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees. So if anybody would like to, I do. I figured out how to see hands up, so I'm very excited. The first name I see is listed under Shy. And what I will ask is that citizens must state their first name, last name, and their Novi address, please. And then our moderators will unmute you, Shy. And I apologize if that's...
This is Calvin Brown under Rob Petty. I'm going to unmute Shy, but I have to promote them to panelists because it says they're using an older version of Zoom. So I will be promoting them to panelists, and then I will be bringing them back to attendees after they said their 3 minutes.
I appreciate your update. Thank you. All right, Shy, can you hear? I think you're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, Shy, go ahead.
Okay, I just had a question about Trustee Mishner. It seems that every time she brings a motion, everyone seems to be a bit confused, and there seems to be a lot of aggression. And I'm just wondering, why is that the case? That seems to be the case tonight. And it was also the case last month. I dare to even say she may be owed an apology. I don't think she's been being treated very fairly, considering the work that she's putting in there. Do you care to comment on that?
This is not a question and answer session, so therefore we will not be able to answer any questions at this time.
Because you don't want to answer it?
Do you have any additional comments that you would like to share?
Yes, I would like to say that you've been pretty rude and nasty, and I hope that you will treat her better and all of your people in the future. That's all.
Thank you for your comments. I see Regina Sharma. Regina?
I will be doing the same thing for Regina Sharma. She is running on an older version of Zoom, so she is now being promoted to panelist for speaking.
Hi, Regina.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Thank you for granting me panelists. As someone who has been a patron of the Novi Public Library many times, I just wanted to share this evening that I was profoundly disappointed to observe the way Trustee Mishner was treated at your meeting on January 28th. Trustee Mishner is a committed Novi resident, a dedicated volunteer, and has served on this board for many years, including as past president, and she has been asking for a hate clause to be added to the library's policy manual for more than half a year, and was questioned as to why a hate clause would be a DEI initiative, a policy that would protect visitors of the library from discrimination. And when she was requested that after 7 months of discussion, this clause be voted on, as is the requirement for all items to be voted on for board action, she was interrupted, she was talked over, and she was talked down to. And she was the only member of your board being treated in this manner, and she was being sent a message that her voice doesn't count. No one should have to explain in a public meeting that it feels bad to be discriminated against. That is shameful, and Trustee Mishner deserves better, and she is owed an apology, and the community members who visit this library deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I have Lisa Goss Hobson.
Good evening to the library board, as well as to everyone listening to this meeting. I am Lisa Hobson, a longtime resident of the city of Novi. I am once again calling and to express my sheer and utter disappointment in your blatant disregard to make conscientious decisions in the matter of updating your diversity and equity policies. For months now, as the previous resident just stated, about 7 months now, I, along with many others, have listened to the board's president, Mrs. Augusta, filibuster her way through ignoring the pleas of Ms. Mishner to have the board recognize Juneteenth as a holiday that is equal in worth in regard to closing the library as the 4th of July. To quote the late, great Dr. Martin Luther King, justice delayed is justice denied. I take offense to Ms. Augusta's multiple attempts to silence Ms. Mishner, who had every right to speak in last month's meeting in regards to the board approving of the anti-hate speech clause in your official policy packet, which, by the way, conspicuously is never quite ready to be approved. The fact that the rest of the board, in their complicit silence, approved of Ms. Augusta's bullying tactics only further substantiates my main point, which is this. It's time to replace some of the board members in exchange for ones who will champion the cause of celebrating and embracing every aspect of multiculturalism here in Novi. I was further nauseated earlier tonight by Ms. Augusta's perpetual reiteration of her pseudo state of confusion when Ms. Mishner earlier tonight made several attempts to make a motion to revisit the library's closing for the celebration of Juneteenth. I want you to know that I see you, Ms. Augusta. I see all of you. I can recognize voter suppression a mile away. It was your intention to subvert and confuse things that are so very explicitly clear. It's time for you to step up to the plate as a board in general, realize we're not going away, denounce hate speech, honor Juneteenth, or face losing your next election. Thank you for your time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for your time. I apologize. I was on mute. I have Betsy Bodone. I apologize for mispronouncing your last name.
Once again, Betsy is running an older version of Zoom and promoting her to panelist for her discussion.
Betsy, you can go ahead. You can unmute.
Okay, thank you so much for your time and for hearing from me. I did send in a letter, and I did not notice that it had been included in the correspondence, but I'm not sure if I've got the current updated version. But I did just want to reiterate that first from NRA, I'd like to say thank you for approving the hate speech policy. And I did see that there was money allocated into the 269 fund as we had requested for the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Board. And I do appreciate that progress. But I would also like to reiterate that Trustee Mishner's treatment in response to her request last month was embarrassing to me as a member of this community. I think that she was treated with disrespect. I've listened in on several of these meetings and I have not heard anyone else treated that way. And I've seen her treated that way now a couple of times, which is very disappointing. And I do think that as the sole African-American trustee on this board, and for her to be discussing her views on racial justice and what's needed here, I do think that the white members of this board should, really consider if they could maybe be better listeners in regards to that. And additionally, I think my most important point for the evening is just that I'd really like to try to understand why we are now changing the bylaws to say that the minutes and meetings may be made public as opposed to shall be made public. The timing of this seems very unusual to me, given the scrutiny that this board is under, that we are suddenly looking to just hide behind a curtain on this and maybe not have people know how things are going here. I think that if you're unable to conduct yourself professionally in a way that you can be publicly presented as a board, that this might not be a good position for anyone who's not comfortable having these meetings minutes made public. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope to see continued progress as NRA will be keeping an eye on how all of this is going. Thank you.
Thank you for your time and feedback. I have Danielle North.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Danielle. Thank you.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to address the Novi Board of Directors. I too am here to speak up on behalf of Board Member Mishner and her right to put forward a policy. I did not personally witness the meeting, but I went back and watched the video from the last meeting. And I have a lot of skills and experience and background in Robert's Rules of Order. And in last month's meeting, you were in clear violation of Robert's Rules of Order. You definitely did not conduct the meeting properly. Any motion can be put forward, and Board Member Mishner continues to be suppressed in her rights and ability as a board member to either put forth a motion. Anyone can, you don't have to vote to approve the motion, but the motion can be put forward. And so I am just very disappointed in what I continue to see in terms of the actions of this board. I am also very disappointed in the silence from other board members. And as people of color, Black people in America, we should have folks who are allies who are not the same colors as we are, but who understand that hate is wrong, discrimination is wrong, and any type of bias is wrong. And so that's what I continue to see in these meetings as it relates to Board Member Mishner and as it relates to putting forth a policy that seems to be very clear common sense that would need to be passed by a public place, a library where people of all backgrounds will come in and will need to feel safe. And so I just hope that this board can follow proper policy and rules and guidelines, and also finalize if you have professionals who are working at that library and they cannot put forward a policy, that is just very disappointing. So I hope in the coming month that policy can go forward. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Danielle. I have Aaron Martinez.
Hi, good evening, Madam President, Library Board members. My name is Aaron Martinez. I'm a longtime Novi resident, almost 30 years. Just wanted to follow up to my written comments that were included in the board packet tonight. First, I want to thank you for finally getting the hate speech policy passed through the library board. I think it's been long overdue, and I appreciate the efforts by Trustee Mishner to facilitate that, get that done, as well as Director Farkas and her whole team. So thank you for doing that tonight. I also wanted to come before the library board today because like one of the other folks who spoke, I had an opportunity to read the proposed bylaws for the library board. And I did take a couple issues with some of the similar points that were brought up as it pertains to the minutes of the meeting. I'm glad that the folks from Foster Swift are here and can potentially clarify some of that, because as I read the law, specifically MCL 15.269, it is not a may, it is a shall. This as a public body must be able to provide the minutes of the meeting for public inspection. So I would encourage this board to consider that, keep that in mind. As a public body, we expect you to not only follow the Open Meetings Act, but you are required to. And I would just simply ask that you keep that in mind. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Aaron, for your feedback. I have Sharon.
Hi, my name is Sharon Trumpy. I am a Novi resident. I have been contacting the board pretty continuously since June of this year because I love the library and because I am the white mother of a Black son. And I am going to do everything I can to ensure that Novi is a safe and welcoming place for my child and for all of our citizens. I am glad that the hate speech policy was passed tonight. I want to thank Trustee Mitchner in particular for being a vocal advocate for racial justice. And I hope that the rest of the board will reflect on why the delay was so unacceptable. I shared some private information with board members about a racist incident that my child encountered in this past month. And my point in doing that was to point out to you that this does happen in Novi, and that every day that you failed to pass that hate speech policy was a day that your patrons and employees were unprotected in your public library, which is unacceptable to me. I would like to implore the board to look at the stereotypes that you are perpetuating when you treat your only Black board member as an angry Black woman when she is advocating for her community and for our community. Her treatment at the last meeting, as well as at the August meeting, was unacceptable. And then lastly, I would also like to point out that the bylaws are an equity issue, and I believe that it's imperative that the minutes and the video recording always be made available so that individuals with disabilities or those who are unable to leave their homes have access to that information. Thank you.
Thank you for your time and feedback. All right, I have no other hands up. Oh, Paula Henry just raised her hand.
Hello.
Hello. Go ahead.
Hi. My name is Paula Henry. I'm one of the presidents of PASSN, Parents of African American Students in Novi. I'd like to speak on behalf of the behavior that was inflicted upon Trustee Mishner. Trustee Acosta, I feel that you were unprofessional, rude, and out of order in the way you conducted yourself towards her. Because your behavior was very public, I believe that your apology should be public as well. Thank you again to the board for finally passing the hate speech policy, even though it has taken almost a year to pass. Thank you for finally passing it. Thank you also for acknowledging and passing the paid holiday for Juneteenth. Again, as previously discussed, the attempts to change the bylaws from making things from shall be to maybe, I think is inappropriate, especially for the Novi Public Library, and your theme is to inform and to inspire. So let's make sure that we keep that in mind. And again, thank you for passing finally the hate speech and Juneteenth. And again, I believe that there should be a public apology to Trustee Mishner for the way that she was treated in the last meeting and in previous meetings. She again is the only African American on the board. So it really, really made the Novi Public Library look bad to treat her that way. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your time and feedback. All right, is there anybody else? All right, I don't see any other hands. Okay, Trustee Mishner, did you want to? Hello?
Yeah, were you still talking? I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, Melissa.
No. I have no other panels, so I was reaching out to you as you requested.
Sure, well, Ashley, I requested it to be in correspondence or now communication, but I was asked by you to use it as public comment, and I can totally do that. That's fine. I just want to be transparent. I think that's so important to be honest.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
My letter as public comment because you said the attorney told you to do so. So thank you, Anne. I'll go ahead and read it. Dear Library Board and Director, my purpose in being a trustee on this board is to offer my voice to the Novi Public Library and be committed to the stated mission of inspire, inform, include. However, I'm not feeling inspired or included, and when I have tried to inform, I've been disrespected. The January 28th meeting reflected that I am not entitled to the same treatment as the rest of the board. My purpose is not to have a segregated set of rules, or to be interrupted, or to be silent into inferiority. I utilize resources provided by our MLA and governing bodies to make sure that I'm a leader as a trustee. I take my role seriously and see it as my duty to the people of Novi to be present for each and every meeting of the board. If you check my record, you will see that I have exemplary attendance in the 6+ years that I have served and been a board member. I wanted to go on record by saying that for the last 6+ months, I feel I've been treated differently on this board than other members of this body. I've spoken up about this both subtly and not subtly. Many of these experiences have been recorded for the public, but some have not. The way that I was regarded on January 28th at our public board meeting calls our conduct into question. I was spoken to disrespectfully, scolded, told to be silent when I'm in the middle of speaking, accused of being argumentative, and I received hostile regard that can be referenced in the public video by the board president, Melissa Augusta. My viewpoint of this encounter is not mine alone as a member of our community that I did not know, shared that she was using our last meeting to show how systemic racism has continued to evolve past slavery and into the boardroom. She said she showed her kids the recording of that board meeting so they would understand why they needed to not be bystanders when they see this type of behavior. This is shameful. My goal in sharing this letter is to report what I have endured for the board record and to implore the board that DEI work should not be performative at all. To be true leaders in this work, we need to lead by example. The goal of the trustee is not to always agree with one another, nor be a passive figure, as it states in our own trustee manual and warns against this exact thing. I want to acknowledge that I will continue to bring the same education and professionalism that I've committed myself to offering since I was appointed in this board. I ask that the discriminatory conduct that has been bestowed onto me last month and prior to last month be something that is not repeated. It is vital that we consider how we operate as a body. I step into this meeting today hoping that the board understands that I did not feel as though I was in a space safe from bias or discrimination at the last meeting and essentially since George Floyd's murder. In fact, I do not feel safe today. I ask us to consider our collective responsibility as our community continues to bring attention to these matters where they also have not felt welcome within our doors. There is a stark contrast in healthy debate or a disagreement in regard to a vote and shutting a board member down to a point of humiliation and exclusion. I find it relevant to emphasize that this letter is written from my experience as the only Black board member that has ever been appointed in the Novi Public Library's 60+ year history and the chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. I also speak from my professional perspective as a mental health counselor, TEDx speaker, and published author who specializes in racial trauma, anti-bullying, and relational aggression. I ask that this letter is public and included in the correspondence section of our board packet for the February meeting for true transparency. Respectfully, Tara Michener.
Thank you, Trustee Michener.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have committee reports. The first one is Policy Committee. Trustee Michener.
Thank you so much. So we passed the hate speech clause, and we have a new guest behavior policy. So I have nothing currently for the policy committee. Thank you so much for giving me the floor for that.
Thank you. All right, HR committee. We met on February 11th. I'll start out. The HR policy staff review has been suspended until a new HR specialist is hired. The committee did meet on February 11th to discuss the open HR position. Director Farkas provided us an update. The committee is waiting on a staff survey that was created in the DEI committee to review and possibly include any additional questions. Director Farkas is coordinating board training for the spring, and we're going to have topics of Robert rules, OMA, and conflict resolution. It's going to be pending our new member appointments. And then the committee asked for a revision for the director of the performance evaluation form. I think there were a little bit confusing things, so we're going to try to make it just a little more easy to understand. And the new posting for the HR position was posted as of February 19th with a closing date of March 17th. Finance committee, there is no report. Events marketing fundraiser committee, no report. Strategic planning committee, no report. Building Landscape Committee, no report. Bylaw Committee, Chair Lawler.
Yes, the work that we've been doing for several months is included in your packet. The changes have been highlighted in yellow. We're not asking for approval tonight because there are a fairly significant amount of new language that I'm sure the board would like to look over. And I guess I don't have anything specifically to bring out unless there are questions in today's meeting?
So what we'll do is we'll leave this as a read, I think, because I know that next month we'll have 2 brand new trustees who will need to review it. So we will bring it back next week, probably more for more of a discussion, and then we won't rush a vote on this because I want to make sure we get it right. Trustee Mishner?
Thank you so much. Bill asked if there was more comments, and I had a few things to bring up for discussion for the bylaw committee. Not for the bylaw committee, I'm sorry, for the bylaws that were proposed for first draft to consider.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. So first, I want to thank you, bylaw committee. It is not easy to work on committees. So thank you for your work that you put in. Okay, so the first thing I have is changes that could put the library at risk of violating OMA. Article 4, Section 5, changing language from shall be posted to may be available regarding meeting minutes. Per Open Meetings Act 267 of 1976, Section 9, 1 through 9.33, public bodies shall make the minutes available. And then Article 4, Section 8, removing and committee meetings. An example is if a committee consisting of 3 trustees, not including the president, meets, all committee members are present and the president joins as is their right under Article 3, Section 4 of the bylaws, then there would be a quorum of the library board. Therefore, the OMA shall apply. So, I would suggest that we do not remove and committee meetings. Changes that, while not in violation of any superseding acts, charters or ordinances, are in opposition to the library's slogan, which is inform, inspire, and include. And that's Article 4, Section 10.9. The library board has full discretion of the inclusion and detail of any public comment, including written correspondence within the minutes. This would be a break with the current practice of including summaries of all public oral comments and all written correspondence in their entirety. This could result in minutes that are less informative and inclusive. It could also open the door to one-sided minutes where oral public comments and written public correspondence favorable to the library board, its action, staff, etc. are included in the minutes, but those oral comments and written public correspondence that are critical are not included in the minutes. Article 4, Section 11, changing language from shall be available to may be available regarding meeting broadcast recordings. This will be a break with the current practice of posting all library board meeting broadcasts on the library's internet. This could result in the degradation to the library's current commitment to the public. The public would be less informed, as they would no longer be able to review board meetings in their entirety to better understand the operation of their library and how it is working to serve the community. Less members of the public would be included, as it is not always possible nor practical for community members to attend in person or virtually due to work, family, and other commitments, access to transportation, access to live broadcast, etc. Action would result in a less inspired public, as viewing a meeting firsthand has a much greater impact and leaves one generally with a much larger appreciation for the work the library board and library staff are doing to serve the community than just reading over the meeting minutes. Changes that could degrade the equity of all board members and impede the board's deliberative and decision-making process. Article 3, Section 4, shall act to ensure the integrity of the board process. This is redundant to the very first sentence of Section 4 is the very definition of preside, is to exercise guidance, direction, or control. So 1, why was this addition deemed necessary? And then 2, if additional clarification of the role of president is required, could one just refer to Robert's rules? Article 4, Section 3, emergency agenda items can be considered at the discretion of the president. This is in conflict to the last sentence of the paragraph. The agenda may be amended by action of the library board during library board meetings. It can result in a lack of equity where certain trustees are consistently granted that their emergency agenda items are considered and other trustees are consistently denied their additions to the agenda. In general, what prompted the need to require agenda items be submitted in advance by board members, thus resulting in this emergency agenda clause. If the requirement to submit agenda items in advance and the subsequent emergency agenda clause remain in the final version of the bylaw, then there should also be included a very clear definition of what qualifies for an emergency agenda item. Article 6, Section 7. Board members are required to share all guest and staff correspondence with the president or library director. The president or the library director serves as designated spokesperson for the board and should respond in a timely manner to correspondence received by library guests and staff. So, one, the president and library director are not equivalent positions, and they should not be used interchangeably. Per Section 2 of the same article, library board shall select, appoint, and supervise the library director. Per Novi Code of Ordinances, Section 1926.6, the library board of directors shall have power to appoint suitable personnel and fix their compensation and shall have power to remove such appointees. Reporting all guest and staff correspondence to the president is both impractical and unnecessary. Suggest all official library board correspondence be shared with the library. Suggest this be narrowly defined by correspondence sent via official library board member email only. Broader definitions that include personal email, text, phone conversations, etc., could result in individual board members' personal laptops, PC, phones, tablets, etc., becoming the subject of a Freedom of Information Act investigation. If the library is insistent on maintaining a broader scope for official library communication, then all board members should be issued Novi Public Library laptops and smartphones to conduct library business on. Article 9 would suggest instead that the library follow Robert's Rules, Section 49, page 487, line 25 through page 488, line 20, procedure in small boards, as this is more appropriate and in line with the board's current operating procedures. If not, then I would question items 6 and 8. 6 is questions and remarks must be addressed through the president. Board members are not to speak directly to each other or to a staff member. This is problematic and impractical since the board as a whole is charged with the supervision of the director and needs to be able to converse with the director as such. Also, from time to time, library staff will be present for special presentation, usually followed by Q&A. Sending all questions to the president would unnecessarily complicate this process, especially for a small board like ours. This also unnecessarily complicates and impedes healthy debate and discussion amongst the board members. 8 would be the reading from, point 8, reading from books, reports, etc. is only allowed with general consent, that is, if there are no objections. I'm wondering what prompted the addition of this addendum. So that's that. That can also, if you want more clarification on that, section 4.3, line 20 through 25 is where you can reference. So those are my notes for the bylaws. I think that those additions really concern me, and they put us at risk of violation with OMA. I also think that they put us at risk at a lack of transparency and equity, not only with our community at large, but also with us as board members having the freedom that we were appointed to have. Thank you so much for listening. Appreciate your work.
Thank you, Trustee Mishner.
Thank you.
Any other comments before we move on to the next committee report? All right, Strategic Planning Committee, no report. Oh, I'm sorry, I backed up. DEI, no report. And we are at communication. So we currently have included 8 communications in the packet, and they are all noted. And we've already done the consent agenda, and we are at adjournment. Trustee Mishner?
No, you didn't see my hand. I apologize. I wanted to not interrupt you, but I did have something for DEI.
Did you have a meeting?
I have something to share for DEI. I don't think I have to have a meeting to share about DEI, do I? That hasn't been mentioned in the past. So I do have something to share.
I guess I would, if you haven't had a meeting, I don't know what there would be to report. So that's why I'm just confused.
Well, you have to listen to me, right? I'm trying to share. I'm really doing my best. Okay. I don't know why I can't share. This is problematic, I think.
Well, it's not, I guess it has to be on the agenda prior to the meeting. So anything that's supposed to be presented at the meeting needs to be on the agenda. Is that correct, Anne?
Yeah, I'm not clear what she's going to say.
I don't know. They haven't had a meeting. That's why there hasn't been a lot of reports, because we didn't have any meetings since our last, for strategic planning and building. And because there was no meeting, really the committee hasn't met, so there wouldn't be anything to discuss. So that's why I'm just looking for clarification.
Is it related to the DEI committee?
Yeah.
I think that I think it's up to the board, but I think if it's just strictly reports and you want to stick to your schedule, I just don't know what she's going to exactly say. So it's a little hard.
Sure. Okay.
My recommendation would be to allow the report.
Okay. Trustee Mishner, you have the floor.
I appreciate that. And I'm going to add something I wasn't going to add before. That's an example of what I was talking about in my letter. It was just a really quick thing. All I was going to do was inform them why we didn't have a meeting and also let everyone know that we are planning to meet tomorrow. And then just an article that I shared that was actually from the Public Library Association, as well as the American Library Association that I shared on understanding power, identity, and oppression. We got to do better. I'm the chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, and I can't even talk about power, identity, and oppression. This is shameful. It really is. So that's all I was going to share, that I had an article that I sent out to our committee to look at. I was also going to share that we are meeting tomorrow. There was a lot of vacations and things of that nature, which is why we didn't meet. So I wanted to clarify that. Also, we had mentioned briefly last month that there was a book that was suggested by Director Farkas, and we were going to discuss that at our meeting, just letting everyone know that that's still in the works. Also, I wanted to allow for everyone to know that one of our members gave us a resource to look into called the Black Tax, the cost of being a Black American. So there were some resources that we are looking at, even though we didn't meet. I think that's relevant. It's hard to know what I'm going to say if I'm not allowed to speak and if I'm silenced, and evidence continues to present itself that I can't talk. So that's what I was going to share. I was also going to ask Trustee Dooley if she had anything to share, because she also is a trustee on this committee. So I just want to, we weren't going to take up too much time, I promise. I just was going to inform and inspire and include everybody on what we're working on. That's it. I am so disappointed right now. I have to say, I'm really disappointed. So Trustee Dooley, if President Augusta, if Trustee Dooley can have the floor, I was going to ask if she had anything to share, because she also has some things that she's working on currently that I don't know about, and that may have been in progress. So it's not a meeting per se, but it is work. So I don't want people to think we're not working.
Are you finished?
I would like to know from you if I can transfer the floor to is that okay? I don't know.
Trustee Dooley, do you have anything to add?
Yes, thank you. So like our chair of the committee said, Trustee Mishner said, we're finally being able to meet tomorrow. There's been some initiatives that we've been working on and discussing. So I'll make sure to present that information to the committee, including the chair, tomorrow at our meeting. And that's pretty much it. So thank you for the floor, Trustee Mishner.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Trustee Mishner, thank you so much. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Trustee Yu, will you do roll call vote, please?
Trustee Augusta?
Yes.
Trustee Dooley?
Yes.
Trustee Lawler?
Yes.
Trustee Messernack?
Yes, and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Trustee Mishner?
Yes, thank you.
Trustee Wood?
Yes.
Trustee Yu, yes.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you very much.
Night.